Hi folks, Eric Carlson here. Again, I'm running for Congress in the 1st Congressional District in Illinois. This is another one of my low budget videos, but it's an attempt to get my views and my points of interest and the solutions to the problems that we face in the 1st District and as in the nation as a whole. So this one is video number 10. This is gerrymandering, and this is something that really affects us here in Illinois, but it not only affects us in Illinois and in the 1st District, but it affects the nation when things like this are allowed to happen. So I'm going to go over a few things here. Illinois is the worst in the country as far as gerrymandering. If you've seen our congressional districts, the way they're drawn, it looks like an ink blot test. No sane person can look at that and say that that is in any way fair. It is drawn by the Democrats who control this state, the state legislature. They get to draw the map. Now, and that's the same way in every state. Whichever party is in power gets to draw the congressional maps and also your state legislature map, your state senate, things like that. But the problem with that is that you get, and we'll talk about that at the end, but we've had a population loss here in Illinois over the last 2 censuses. People are leaving. People are fleeing this state, California, New York, all big Democrat-run states. And they're getting out of here because things have become unbearable for them. Cost of living, taxation, crime, everything like that. And people are leaving this state. Now, this is the state of my birth, and I'd much rather stay here and fight for that, to get that back on track. And it's not the people of this state that are doing this. It's the Democrat Party and their policies that are destroying this state. Why is everyone leaving? If Democrat policies are so great, why is everyone leaving and going to Florida, Tennessee, and Texas, all Republican-run states? It's just common sense, people. Just sit back and look at it, and don't listen to the BS from the other side, because you can see there's what they're telling you, and then there's reality. So these people that are leaving Illinois are also taking their money with them, their income tax, and a lot of them are job producers. A lot of them are small business owners, and they're taking that money and those jobs and they're moving their companies to other states, which means this is a downward spiral, because that means that's less money that the state has to do the programs and the things that it need to do. It's chasing out. You're basically killing the goose that laid the golden egg. Is what you're doing, because the people that can afford to leave are going to leave. That's going to leave the people that are the lower end of the income spectrum, that are going to be suffering more and more and doing without more and more services. Your stuff's going to start to get cut. You're going to start seeing more and more restrictions, and things are just going to get worse. Your life is going to go down the tubes, even worse, faster than it's going in the last year of Joe Biden. In 2020. The last election cycle, we had, after the election, we had 13 Democrats and 5 Republicans. We had 18 seats in the House of Representatives, and of course our 2 senators made 20 electoral votes for the state. We're down to 19 because we lost a seat because of population loss. We lost seat last time too. So this has been going on for a while. The Democrats have controlled this state that entire time, with Mike Madigan controlling everything in Springfield. They keep redrawing these maps, and they keep giving you these policies, and they keep getting rich, and you keep getting crumbs. So the Dems chase these people out of here with their policies. They lost a seat, so technically they should lose a Democrat seat in Congress. Now this is where it affects the entire nation. They redrew the map to now where it is 14 Democrat seats that are likely to win and only 3 Republican. So that's a Democrat plus 3. So nationally, the Democrats are going to pick up 3 seats in Illinois, most likely, because of the way they redrew the map. Now, if anybody here can look at me with a straight face and say that that's fair, that is how it should be, I don't know. I can't tell you how wrong you are on so many levels. A.G. Garland, the Attorney General of the United States, who was trying to become a Supreme Court justice, he was on his way to being there. Thank heavens that got blocked, because you see this guy's true character. This guy is a weasel. He is an absolute weasel. He's from Chicago, so he backs this stuff. Is he coming to investigate Illinois for the gerrymandering, the way this map is drawn? No. He's going down to Texas. He's going after a Republican state, trying to say that they're doing the same thing. Texas, and I haven't even looked at the Texas map, but I can guarantee you it's nowhere near this. And we've had this for the longest time. I've lived in this state for 53 years, going on 54. I have never once voted for a Democrat for Congress. I have also never once been represented by a Republican. My entire life in Congress have I ever been represented by a Republican. You talk about voter suppression. This is exactly it. We'll go into some numbers after that, but the Democratic hypocrisy of what they're trying to do now, telling you about voter rights, and everybody has a right to vote. Yeah, you can vote in Illinois, but your vote isn't going to mean shit if you vote Republican. Taxation without representation. I pay my taxes, so do everybody else in the state that votes Republican, but we never get equal representation at the state level or at the federal level from these people. Look at Dick Durbin. Look at Tammy Duckworth. Tammy Duckworth turned around and stabbed veterans in the back. Yeah, and I said that. And if she'd like to debate on anything, I'd more than welcome that, even though we're not running for the same office. Downward spiral. This is what you get when you allow the Democrats to keep losing people and then having to redraw the map, and they redraw with more and more power for them, less representation for the people. That's why they're going to leave. If I didn't have family here, and if I didn't love this state and my home city of Chicago, I would not stay here and fight for it. But I'm a fighter, and I will not leave. I will not let this thing sink. The thing that my father, my grandfather, my great-grandfather came here and had a big hand in building this city. And I will not let that go down the tubes. I will not let this state and this city die because of this idiocy. So I'm going to fight. Even if I'm the only one left standing, the only one left to fight, I'll still be here. Number 9. In 2020, you had 40.6% of the Illinois population voted for Donald Trump. If you bring that out to what we have now, 17 seats, 40.6% of the population would be represented by 6.9 seats. So 6 to 7 seats should be fair Republican representation. Okay? Right now, the way it's looking, we have 3. That would represent less than 18% of Republicans, or excuse me, of the voters. Those 3, they make up 40.6%, but only 18% are getting represented. Does that seem fair to you? Again, taxation without representation. All these people are paying taxes, but they can't get anyone who's going to listen to their side to represent them. Now, the last time that this happened, there was an American Revolution. That was a bunch of people that were so pissed off that they had to take up arms against the crown. Now, I'm not advocating that, but I'm telling you where the American people are. They are so pissed off and so frustrated that they cannot get politicians to understand. Now, again, I like solutions, so I'm going to give you my solutions here that we could do. And these are simple if you just sat down and looked at them. And these aren't partisan. This isn't something to make everything Republican. I know this is a Democrat state, but at least these people would be represented fairly by someone who shares their views. So how would you do that? And you're not disenfranchising anybody. And you see these districts, it's in the paper. The Democrats in Illinois came out, specifically said they're redrawing the 1st district to make sure that it stays majority black. So that's a racist statement right there. When you're drawing maps to make sure that you get a representative from one race, it should be based on the merits and the person's policies. If you think that that person is the best person, he should be able to represent you. You shouldn't have to draw a map and cancel out people of one race just because you think that someone of another race should be in there. That goes against everything this country stands for. And I'm sure if you sat down, if anybody on the other side in the black community and the Latino community looked at this and said, you know what, it should be. We should all be Americans. We should vote for someone who comes out and tells you, hey, this is what I'm going to do for you, not by the color of your skin. So here's my solutions. Again, I like to give you solutions. I would like Department of Justice investigation, like Merrick Garland launched in Texas. I would like that into Illinois. and the way they draw their maps to see, because this is totally unfair and it always has been, and it's getting worse. Um, you're not going to get that until the Republicans take back the House and presidency, and we get a Republican AG in there who will actually do his job and not be a partisan hack. Federal oversight. What I mean by that is the states can conduct their own elections, but there has to be some oversight to avoid this downward spiral and this, when one party gets in power, like California, New York, and Illinois, and it becomes a one-party state, that's where things get messed up. And that's why you see all these people leaving, and you see so many problems in these states, because they can't function. If there's not two people to have the argument and have the discourse and bounce ideas off of each other, then you only get one single mindset. And that Democrat mindset, the good idea fairy just keeps coming up, and they keep coming up with more and more stupid ideas, and they keep putting them in, and they're allowed to put them in because they control everything. Districts should be drawn by county. If you look at a map of Illinois, a lot of it is rural. You should break it down. It has to be by population. Right now in Illinois, the districts average about 710,000 people per district, roughly. So you would break the districts down as much as possible by county. You would have to break up a few counties, but you could, I'm going to give you the example here of Chicago, Cook County, because Cook County is the majority of voters in the first district are in Cook County, but also it's the biggest county in Illinois. The population in 2021 was 5,106,780. So if you break that down, if you divided that by 710,000, you get 7.19 districts. So basically 7 districts. So you could this is Chicago right here, and Cook County. So you see, this is divided up by the townships. The part in orange is the city of Chicago. You could break this down in this county, rather than drawing the way they have it, is where they take parts of the inner city and they draw and they come out here and they use up a lot of the rural areas in Cook County and Kankakee County, and they drown out those people's vote with votes from the inner city where the population density is heavier. Instead of doing that, that's not fair to either side. The people in the rural area have a lot different concerns than the people in the inner city. So those people should have their own district that's more rural, and their representatives should know more about the farming community and things like that, whereas people in the city should be represented by a representative who knows their needs in the city, the different things. Maybe crime is higher on your list than it is out in rural Manteno. You need someone who can address that, but the only way you can do that is if you have a voting block that is closer together and has more things in common. We're all Americans, but you have things in common, things that are going on in your neighborhood, your district, your block, your precinct. And if things are, and by the Constitution, things are supposed to be, your districts are supposed to be drawn very compact, as compactly as possible. Again, look at a congressional map of Illinois. Go ahead and pull that up on Google and see how things are drawn. But you could divide this. So you would have 7 districts in Cook County. So you could just divide it along townships and break it down until you get roughly how many. You could do it across here until you get 700,000 people, and then your next district. That way Cook County would be, and the south side would be represented by one person. Downtown, another area, the north side, north suburbs, south suburbs, things like that. People who have things in common and work and live in that area are represented by the same person. That's the way you could do it. Alternatively, you could do it by lines of latitude or longitude within the county. If you had to divide it, like there's, like I said, you would have 0.19 districts worth of population, 134,000 people left over out of Cook County. So you could either divide that up in those 7 districts, or you could take that 134,000, say in the far south suburbs, and put them in with Will County, which is just south of it, borders the entire south part of Cook County. Now, the population in 2021 of Will County was 689,000, so just under 689,900, so almost, we'll call it 690,000. You're about 20,000 short of that district, of having a full district on paper. So you could take some of those people from the south suburbs that they live right on the Will County border, and you could move them into what would be the Will County district. There's no You have areas of, say, Tinley Park, which is also in the first district. Parts of that are in Cook County, and parts of it are in Will County. Where I live in Lamont it's actually in three counties. It's in Where I live is in Cook County. Then you have part of it in Will County and part of it in DuPage County. So it's not that big of a deal for those people because they live in the same area and they have a lot of the same concerns. So this is just common sense stuff, people, and it doesn't shut anybody out. The folks in the city who want to vote, which is on the south side, is majority black. You're going to get a black representative, and that's someone who is from your area, and it's very compact, and they know the issues of that area. Somebody from further south suburbs, is going to know that area better. And what are the voting things that those people are looking for? That's actual representation. That's what needs to be done. You need to end state districting, and it goes back to the states being allowed, whoever the state legislature is, being allowed to draw those lines. It shouldn't. At the federal level, they should come down and just say by population, it's going to be by county, just like I laid out, and then the counties will be divided by townships. And townships are how this country was laid out early on. They laid them out. If you're not familiar with them, they're 6 miles by 6 miles, 36 square miles. And they lay that out so they could, apportion the land properly, by acreage. So everything's laid out in a grid pattern, if you know how that works. So the townships, you see on here how they're all square, and the townships can be used as those voting blocks. And again, one district might have 10 or 15,000 more people than the other, but it's going to be very close. This would also allow, being that compact, for your congressmen, when they come back to Illinois, to sit down and talk to their people. If you look at the first district, if I were to win the first district, I would have to come back, and I would have to, on a Saturday, I would have to do a town hall meeting all the way up north in the city, up around Comiskey Park, and then I would have to do one on Sunday on the far south side or south suburbs, and then I would have to come back the following weekend and do one down in Will County and south down by Kankakee County on the Saturday, and then back to the middle on the Sunday, and keep rotating that because it's so spread out. It's like a 75-mile long, so to give people, the voters, the opportunity to come and see their congressman in person and ask questions in person every weekend, a compact district would be much, much better for the people, much better for the congressmen, more efficient for them to get work done and hear what the people want to tell them and what the people's needs are. And it's also, those needs are going to be closer, they're going to be more aligned the closer the district is. The guy out in Kankakee County, rural Kankakee County, is going to worry about the price of soybeans and the trade relation with China as far as crops are concerned. Somebody on the south side is not worried about that. They're worried about clean drinking water, getting lead pipes removed in their area, in that part of the district. So things vary for people. And if you don't have, I'm going to say this, I am probably best suited across this district to represent everyone because I know both sides, and I've lived in all the areas across from the city all the way out to the suburbs. And then I work in rural areas down in Will County and Kankakee County. I know the district probably better than anyone else. If you look at a lot of candidates on the Democrat side, they all come from, and my opponent in the Republican primary, all come from the city of Chicago, which is fine. That's where I was born. I spent a lot of time there. I worked there, lived there. The issue is, though, that their main focus is on that area, and that's what they know, and that's where they work. And you can see there's a lot, several of them run nonprofits too and do stuff to help people, and they concentrate on that area. That's what they know, and that makes sense. It would be ideal. I would love to see the first district be out here where I could represent people, and have another district drawn where they could represent the people on the south side. It just makes more sense, people. But it doesn't. That's not the way they do it, because they want power. They want to keep power, and the Democrats in this party, in this state, will not allow anyone to interfere with their power. So I would like to see the end of the states being able to do that. I would like the Fed to come in, set up an election board, and they would draw it and say, this is by population by county. And then if a county like Cook County is big, we'll divide it just like that by townships. And that's how you do that. It's very simple, people. And it doesn't kick anybody in the teeth. It doesn't cheat anybody. This protects voter rights. It really does. This would allow roughly 40% of the people in the state of Illinois to be represented by someone that aligns with their values, their party values. The other thing I wanted to touch on was with the districting is that to do this at the federal level, you're gonna have to change the law, and it would have to be nationwide, and this helps everyone. And I would like to see a true representation of the American people and what they want and vote. And this is something that everyone should want. Unless you are so partisan that you don't want to hear the other side's value, you just want your way, and that's not the way this country was designed. That's not the way it's supposed to be. If you drew this way, had each state by district, and there's 2 states, it's Nebraska and Maine, that do an electoral vote. So it's by congressional districts. So if you have 17 congressional districts in Illinois, and you have 6 of them vote Republican for a president, the president would get, for the Electoral College, would get that 6. Instead of winner take all in the state, this would allow people for their vote to actually matter. Democrats, you'd still be represented, you'd still get yours, because you'd also pick up the votes, say in Iowa, if there's, I'm not sure how many districts there are in Iowa, I think there might be like 8 or 9, but say there's 8 districts in Iowa, and 2 of them are Democrat, or 3, you would get those votes, rather than the Republicans getting all those. So it's not, it makes the most sense, it gives the people the most value for their vote, and it's the most honest way you can do it. The most fair way you can possibly do it in a country of 330 to 340 million people. So again, this is Common Sense Solutions. Please just think about this stuff, whatever side you're on, whatever party. Think about the common sense stuff. This is why I'd like to go to Washington and represent the 1st District, just to bring some common sense, some logic, some reason out there. And you'll get the people, if you see people who argue against that right away, you have to ask yourself why. What's in it for them? What are they trying to accomplish? I don't gain anything. I'm not here for the money. I'm not here for book deals. I'm not here for anything. I'm trying to help this country. Again, my name is Eric Carlson. I'm running for Congress in the 1st Congressional District in Illinois. And I hope that common sense prevails no matter who gets in, but I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.